Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Wednesday drawing session with me, Frank Cho. Happy New Year! In celebration of the New Year, I decided to draw my favorite superhero of all time. It's Spider Man. Peter Parker, Amazing Spider Man. Now, I know some of my friends, they're a big Superman fan, but I'm not one of them. Superman's okay. But for me, Spider Man is the best superhero that I've ever read. I guess that it's that everyman quality that Spider-Man has. He's just like everyone else. He's not like this powerful god. He's just an average guy who's trying to get through his day. Has all the same problems like we do. Have trouble paying bills, and his love life is always stressful and all that. And not only that, he's like an optimist. Even though the life kind of gets him down, he's always pick himself back up. And and humor is a huge part of my life, and I just love that Spider-Man would crack jokes when he's beating up criminals and all that. So he was like the perfect superhero. He caught me at that perfect moment in my childhood. And I can't say enough good things about Spider-Man. So for me, the best Spider-Man artist who ever lived is John Romita Sr. And every time I draw Spider Man, I think of John Romita Sr. because he gave that classic Spider Man look. He was originally a romance novel, a romance comic book artist. And so when Steve Ditko left, he was brought on board to take over Spider Man. And Romita Sr. just gave everything, kind of gave like that classic Spider Man look to everything. He established all of that. Now, Steve Ditko was fantastic. He gave Spider Man this weird, quirky, energetic feel to it, but Romita came in and just gave it that sheen, that classic polish. And that just, for me, that just made Spider Man and all of his supporting characters that much better. So anyway, so here it is, Spider Man. When you draw Spider Man, you want Spider Man just constantly. He's like a ball of energy, so he's constantly bouncing off walls, literally bouncing off walls and stuff like that. So when I first imagined Spider Man, when I started doing the sketch, I imagined him just kind of like leaping right at you with his hand stretched out, ready to shoot a webbing at you. So so that's what I did. So when you draw Spider Man, you don't want to elongate the figure. You just want him kind of like hunched over, kind of like a coiled spring, just bouncing off things. So here it is, Spider Man just jumping right at you. He's almost like sprinting straight at you in midair. And then with that, you have to the force perspective on his hand when he's shooting the web at you. As I said in my previous video, Neil Adams is the best artist when it comes to doing this great foreshadowing, especially with the hands. And I look at Neil stuff all the time. When I want to be when I feel need some inspiration. Neil is always a go to guy for inspiration. So um, Spider Man. I mean, so the webbing is always tricky. So if you look at my webbing, I kind of it's kind of like spaced fairly evenly. It's not really like super narrow and tight like Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee and all those Image Guy does. Mine is just I actually just go for that classic look. So if you look at the webbing in Spider Man design, it's all classic Ramita Senior. So actually at this point, I drew this pencil sketch in about 15 minutes. So I've drawn Spider Man so much as in my youth that I can. Spider Man is so easy to draw, so I just like fly through it. So this whole drawing sketch took me 15 minutes, and I thought maybe I should ink it. So I'm gonna just start inking it as soon as I finish penciling it. And again, you with Spider Man, is I don't try to do too much shading on Spider Man because Spider Man is such a bright, optimistic character. If you want to do a lot of dark shadows and shading, that's Batman. But with Spider-Man, I try to not do too much shadows and stuff like that. So here I am. I just got the pencil sketch down, and I brought my Micron Pigma pen and start inking it. So when I ink, I outline everything. So it's my colorist Sabine always said that is I'm pretty easy to color because everything is like a coloring book. Everything is neatly outlined, and so it's just easy for her to just fill in the colors essentially. And so I originally used 08 or was that 12 Micron Pigma pen, but it was drying out, so I just switched to Micron brush pen. And normally I don't use too much brush pen because I like to control. Brushes are always kind of really hard to control. But with Spider-Man, I've drawn Spider-Man again so many times. It's just easier. And and so here I am just flying through the inking. Spider-Man has that dark is blue and red costume, and the blue is actually very dark blue. It's almost black, and the blue is actually the highlights. So I'm trying to convey that the darkness of the blue, and so there I am. I'm actually just feather the leg portion, and that classic Romita Senior Spider-Man eye, which I'm glad that the movie did. The movie Spider-Man, the recent movie with Tom Holland. I'm glad that they used the classic Romita Spider-Man face instead of the weird alien big eye Spider-Man that the Image guy tend to love. So again, this is just all classic Spider-Man. And so here's a foreshortening of the hand, which is always tricky. You have to really understand the anatomy and all that to do that. And so here, so again, I'm just reinforcing the ink line. I like to have a very strong outline of the character, of the body, and give it some of that the fabric folds. Here I am just kind of erasing some of the miscellaneous pencil line. And so when you ink, the Micron Pigma pen actually behaves very much like a brush. So if you press down hard on it, you get this thick line, and when you kind of ease up on it, you get this thin line. So here I am working the webbing, the constant webbing, which is always it's kind of a pain to do because you have to be very careful. So essentially it radiates out from the head down. So you just have to be very mindful that the webbing kind of radiates out, and then so you have the inner webbing. So the bendy part, it actually kind of goes toward into it bends toward the middle of the circle. So just be mindful of that. So because I've seen Spider-Man artists, they kind of screwed up and put the webbing and the pointing, the bendy part the wrong way, away from the circle, but it should be always like bending toward the middle. And it's just, there it is, just radiating out, the webbing. Again, I've drawn Spider-Man so much, this is all like second nature to me. And yeah, so normally I would rotate the paper, but I've taped the paper onto my desk, so that the camera can shoot it without too much jiggling. But if I'm normally inking it, I will be rotating the paper to give it to get a more cleaner line and stuff like that. So there it is, Amazing Spider-Man.